Hello and welcome. My name's George, and my channel is all about helping you get the most out of Logic Pro so that you can record and produce your best music in your home studio. Today, we're going to be talking all about gain staging. We're going to be talking about what gain staging is, how to get proper gain staging, why this matters, and all of the above. So let's dive right in. So I touched on this a little bit in my previous video of some of the top mistakes that I see being made for beginners, but I figured it's probably a good idea to dive into this just a little bit deeper. So what does gain staging actually means? It might sound a little bit technical, but it's really not all that complicated. All it means is to manage your levels from every step of the process. So this starts with recording, setting our levels with the recording, and then it's going to continue on in the mixing process with setting our levels, but also all the plugins that we add on are going to affect our gain staging as well. So we just want to be mindful of those levels so that the final result, where not clipping, for example, or on the flip side, we also don't want to be overly too quiet. So I'm going to show you how to manage all of those. So the first thing, if you're recording audio, is to actually manage the signal that you're recording. So let's take a look at our vocal track, for example. I'll just close my mixer for a second. And if you just visually look at what we recorded, you'll see the waveforms. They're not all the way to the top of the track here. And gain staging plays a part in that. If we're recording a very hot signal, so loud signal, and these waveforms are getting near or at the top, that's when we introduce distortion and clipping. And that's when you're going to see the red on your meters. And it's going to start sounding distorted. And as we start adding in plugins, that's only going to get worse. On the flip side of things, we don't want things to be too quiet. So we don't want little squiggly lines here, because then we have to do the opposite and we have to start boosting our signal using other methods, such as adding in plugins and making up the gain that way. And when we do that, then since the signal wasn't recorded all that clean to begin with, now we're introducing more noise into the signal. And the louder it gets, the more noticeable that noise is going to be. So a happy medium is to set your levels when you're recording to be around the kind of minus 12 range here on your meters. So if you're recording your vocals and you're looking in Logic and you see the meters kind of get to this 3/4 of the way mark, that's a good place to be, because that gives you some room if things get louder. We're still got room where we're not going to clip, and it's a nice and healthy level. So for example, if I just mute all my plugins here and bring the volume up, you'll be able to see where we're landing.
Sun dips behind the cityscape. There's no time to make haste, and it's all right.
And you can see we're right around that kind of minus 12 range there and peaking at minus 9. Now, to achieve this when you're recording, I suggest you just kind of do a test pass, and you're going to adjust the gain on the preamp of your audio interface. So the little gain knob that you see at the front of your audio interface, just start turning that clockwise until you get a nice level that's around that minus 12 zone, but not too much over. And once you've got that set, you shouldn't have to change it, and you can go on and record all the takes that you need. Now, if you're recording in a software instrument, well, then you don't really have to worry about recording level, because that's all kind of already set within the software instrument. We will have to deal with it later on when we get into mixing, but we'll talk about that next. So now looking at mixing, let's open up our mixer. Now, if you'll notice, all of my levels here, for the most part, they're pretty low to begin with. And that has to do with managing my gain staging. And generally speaking, I start with mixing my drums and then I adjust all my levels based on that. So let's bring all these down for a second. Let's turn off my automation. And I'll just quickly mention these are all different groups. So here on my drums, you see I have a whole whack more of drum tracks, but they're all getting sent to here. So for this demo, I'm just going to be mixing the entire group. Same with the percussion and keyboards and guitars and vocals and so on. So for example, if I were to start with my drums at 0, which is something I see very often, and then mix relative to this volume, well, then you'll quickly see that I'll probably start clipping on my master right here. So let's just kind of start that process. And you can see I've only gotten to my second track, the percussion, before I'm in the red now. So we didn't get very far before we started peaking. And if I were to, start adding in the bass and everything else, so now you can see we peaked 1.4 dB over 0. So that's not what we want. So it's a good idea when you're starting to mix to start your levels nice and low. And how low will largely depend where you started with recording. If you recorded really loud, then you're going to have to bring them down more. And this also depends with how many tracks, because the more tracks that you have, all those signals get combined and they're going to affect your master bus here. But generally speaking, for me anyways, I usually have it kind of around anywhere from -9 to -12. So let's start at -11, for example, and let's go ahead and kind of mix that same section. So now that I kept everything lower here, now you can see the highest that I got was -4. So that's great. And that still gives us some room for our eventual mastering that we'll do at the very end. One common mistake I do see when things are clipping. So for example, if I bring everything up, just for example's sake, what I'll see happen is people will bring down this master bus to compensate for this. And the problem with that is you've lowered the overall volume, but the clipping has already happened before it gets on this track. And then when you go to bounce out your track as a wave or MP3, then the overall volume is going to be way quieter than what you want. So you want to make sure you keep this master bus at 0. And same goes with this master fader as well. These should stay at 0 at all times unless you're doing a fade out at the end. And then you can automate these to fade out like so. Now, another thing you want to be mindful of when you're mixing is each plugin that you add can introduce some gain as well. So on our Whirly, for example, if let's say I add a compressor, let's open that up. You'll notice there's this makeup gain right here. And right now the auto gain is on. So I'll just play the Whirly with the compressor off. So you notice it got louder right away just with the plugin being on. Let me turn this up a little bit. So generally I turn this auto gain off, and then you can add the gain yourself. But let's say you do add a little bit of compression. So we bring this threshold down, and we're going to add gain in based on the gain we've lost, but you're still adding some gain back into the signal. So you want to be a little bit careful of how much you add, because if we start cranking this, then that's when we're going to get into distortion territory. And the same thing goes with EQ. If we open up an EQ and let's say we start boosting frequencies, well, when we boost the frequencies, we're also bringing up the volume of this particular frequency, which is going to bring up the gain of our track. So the more kind of boosting you have going on, the more gain that's going to get added into the track. Now you can compensate for this by bringing all of this down, and you see it'll do kind of the opposite. It'll bring everything else down and leave that little bump there. So if you find yourself in trouble, you can adjust that gain in the EQ as well. So when you start adding multiple plugins, and if you do notice that your track's starting to peak, well, then look for a gain knob on that plugin and make sure it's not turned up, and you can turn it down if necessary. So once you finish your mix with proper gain staging and you're not clipping on your master bus, but you still have a little bit of room to go to zero, then that's where the mastering comes in. And mastering isn't the focus of this video, but one thing you can quickly do to bring the level up is just hitting the mastering button in Logic, which will bring up the master assistant, and it'll analyze your track and add some gain in using this loudness section. If you'll want to learn more about the mastering assistant, I've got a dedicated video on that I'll link to. So I hope that's helped demystify gain staging a little bit, and hope show you that it's not all that complicated. You just want to make sure to keep your levels conservative and avoid clipping on your master bus. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. And I also want to make sure to thank you for all the likes and subscribes. And lastly, if you want to improve your workflow in Logic Pro, don't forget to download my free Ultimate Logic Pro Starter Pack. This includes my Logic Pro Hotkey Cheat Sheet, which is a quick reference guide with all the most common keyboard shortcuts, and also my audio recording guide, which will walk you through all the steps of recording to make sure that you set your gain properly. My mixing guide, which will have a reference to all the most common mixing plugins that you might use. And also my recording guide, if you're getting your home studio up and running, will show you exactly what you need for that. And lastly, my Logic Pro session templates to help give you a shortcut to get started in Logic Pro. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.